This video is from the course Introduction. It's designed for complete beginners and assumes you have no knowledge of the subject matter. If you are interested in more beginner, intermediate, or advanced content, check out our website SUBMETA.io. So working on escaping from the mount. So the mount's obviously a bad position to be in. It's not a position I'm looking to attack my opponent from at all. I need to be focused on getting out. So if you just look at the mount as the position, you'll see Michael has occupied the space between my legs and my arms. So my legs are kind of out of the picture in terms of making any distance. He can start to attack my arms and I need to be getting out of here. A few things we want to focus on. I want to first make sure Michael can't posture, especially in a self-defense scenario when he's up like this. When he's got tall posture, strikes are going to be a big problem, okay? And just the fact when he has posture, he can be using his arms to control my arms and potentially set up attacks. We learnt the arm bar in the previous lesson, and that's one of the attacks he can use when he's got good posture. Other things to be aware of when you're under mount. Don't try to push your opponent off. We learnt that that's going to expose your arm and potentially start to give your opponent the arm bar, okay? So we want to be keeping our arms tight. Don't turn your back, okay? So I don't want to start trying to turn to get out. I give my back, which is considered a worse position and exposes me to a choke. If I can try to break his posture and put his hands on the ground, that means he can't use his hands to control me as well. So the mechanism we usually use for that is to try to block the legs for a moment. I lift my hips in the air with a bridge, and that brings his weight forward, forcing his hands to the mat. Another thing to be aware of, try not to let your opponent go too high in the mount. Generally, the higher Michael's hips go, the worse this is for me, and actually the less effective lifting my hips up is. Okay, so if I do my bridge now, it doesn't move him as much as it did when he was lower down on my hips, okay, where I can actually bump his weight further by lifting my hips. So we tend to block our opponent's legs here to stop them from climbing higher. Once I've got my opponent's hands to the ground, I can start looking to roll on top, okay? If I want to roll on top, like using a bridging action, there can be a problem where Michael could put his hand out to prevent himself rolling over, or he could put his leg out to prevent himself from rolling over. So we want to make sure we trap. The side we want to roll him to, I need to trap his arm and trap his leg. Now if he tries to put his arm out to the side, he cannot. If he tries to put his leg out to the side, he cannot. And therefore, if I take his weight this way, he's going to roll over. So I'm going to use a bridging action to roll on top and end up on top position. So when I break Michael's posture down using the bridge, I want to maintain his posture being broken, okay? If I try to just trap the arm while he's kind of half up like this, if he postures again, I'll usually lose the arm. If I'm able to trap the arm and the head, if he tries to posture back up, he can't because of his head, and I've also trapped the arm. So I usually like to, if I can, I'm going to come over the top, chopping into the elbow, which kind of helps to bend. You see here, I do this, it bends Michael's posture. And I like to grip around the head as well to keep the posture broken there. So with this grip, if you've folded the elbow, it is difficult for your opponent to post their hand out to the side. In terms of the leg, you just need to step your foot just outside the foot here, okay? So if I step just outside the foot, I'm worried about Michael's foot moving wide to step out, okay? So if I can step just outside that, I'm good. To take Michael over the top, I want to get his weight on this side of me. If I can roll him to this side, he'll actually fall over now. This is very difficult to do going just sideways. So if I try to just push sideways, it's not a strong action. I can actually get a much stronger action doing something called a bridge. We call a bridge, where I lift my hips up and forward in the air. Okay, so I want to actually get his weight forward and then roll him to the side, right? By taking the weight forward, it's much easier to then tilt to the side, and my legs, I'm engaging my legs, which are a lot more powerful, okay? So once I'm here, I'm going to bridge backwards, kind of tilt your head away a little bit. So I look away so that I don't jam my head as I try to go over. I look back and I put a lot of weight on my left shoulder by lifting backwards here like this, okay? You see I've brought Michael's weight forward Then I can roll to the side, over that shoulder, and get the top position. Common mistakes with this mount escape. Trying to trap the arm without breaking the posture. Here, if I'm trying to trap this arm and the leg, I can't really roll him unless I've broken his posture down. So we need to actually have the sequencing right first. I need to make sure I force Michael's posture broken, and then I can maintain posture, always keeping control of the head. Another common mistake is to extend and push away, opening your elbows from your chest, allowing your opponent to isolate an arm for an arm lock, or even just to climb up higher into mount. We want to make sure that we are actually keeping our arms down low, blocking their hips from going higher, and not extending our arms. Turning your back is another very common mistake. As soon as I start exposing my back to Michael, he can start to set up the choke. Once we break Michael's posture down, a common mistake is how we control the arm. I want to really make sure I've trapped the elbow as well as the head for posture control. Here, it's very hard for Michael to put his arm out on the ground. Okay? If you grip too high, like for example, if I grip at the shoulder, he can still put his hand out. If I grip at the wrist, he can often free that, or at least even post with his elbow. If he puts his elbow wide, he can put that on the ground. Usually if you control at the elbow, he can't put his elbow out and he can't put his hand out. Last common mistake is with the bridge. I see a lot of people doing this in kind of separate movements. So you need to bridge and then roll, but in one continuous movement. So obviously first one is bridging to the side, which won't really work. I need to be bridging back and then going over from that bridge. I see a lot of people do like a bridge up and then a bridge to the side. That won't work. You have to make it continuous, bridging up, lifting your hips nice and high, and rolling over to get on top. So to escape the mount, I want to block the legs, lift my hips to force Michael's hands down to the ground. When the hands hit the ground, I'm going to trap the elbow and the head and collapse them in. From here, I'm going to trap the outside leg, bridge backwards as I look away. Then I start to roll to the side and get on top. I hope you enjoyed this video from the course Introduction on SUBMETA.io. If you go to SUBMETA.io, you can watch this course for free, uninterrupted, with exercises to help you with recall. Also for free, we have the follow-up course to this, Foundations 1 Escapes, which builds on the content you'll be learning in this course.